All right, Sooner Nation. So let's talk a little bit of transfer portal and if Oklahoma can potentially take anybody else out of there. There's been a couple names that have been thrown around. And with the spring portal officially being closed for guys to be able to enter, Oklahoma lost Jermayne Lole to Texas. So there potentially is a spot for a defensive lineman to come in. But you kind of have to ask yourself, is Brent Venables and Todd Bates taking another defensive lineman? Will it work? Is it necessary? And what does it do for the future? Today, I want to talk about it, break it down, and discuss two of the names that have been tossed out there and give my 2 cents here on what I think Oklahoma could do for the long run and which one could be the better take for Oklahoma. But if you guys have not already, make sure you guys are joining the discussion, jumping down in the comments below, giving me your thoughts, your opinions, what you guys think about this one, the transfer portal cycle for Oklahoma, but also which one of these two prospects, or if you want to see both, land in Oklahoma. But for those who follow around on Twitter, y'all know the deal. You all have seen the names that are floating around. And I think the first one we got to start with today is Adin Huntington. And this is an interesting prospect. When you look at what he's done at Kent State and then what he did at Louisiana Monroe, a total in his career of 108 total tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 51 solos, 11 and a half sacks. He has 4 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles. Now, my only deal here with Adin Huntington is he's a little bit on the smaller side. You know, Oklahoma's really been wanting to take what we would call fatties, right? That's what we've been calling them. And he doesn't meet that 300 plus pounds that you would like to see these defensive linemen at. Additionally, I don't think you could get him there by the season. I think it would take probably a year or two to get him there. So Adin Huntington, though, when you look at how he was graded out in PFF, 21st defensive lineman in the country. And he played a total of 693 snaps. So very good defensive lineman. 76.7 grade on the run defense, 85.6 on the pass rush. He had a coverage grade of 58.4, but again, you know, we've talked about it. That coverage grade, it's, you know, it really doesn't mean a hell of beans when it comes to these defensive linemen. But the pass and the run defense, phenomenal, exceptional. Like in terms of grades per PFF, he would be one of your best. Now, I believe this is a guy that does play probably in a 4T situation, maybe in a 3T, just going to play probably on that outside. He's not going to play the nose guard or right next to the nose guard. He's probably going to play on the opposite side, but you'd want to see him get a little more weight. If he could get to like 290 before the season, I think you would feel really confident in what he would be able to bring to Oklahoma. But yeah, looking at statistically, this would be a phenomenal take for OU and would be a step up from Lole. My only deal is he would have like 1 year of eligibility left. And I get it. Brent Venables and Todd Bates' strategy has been, we're going to bring guys in that have 1 year, kind of get a rental, and we're going to continue to recruit really hard on the recruiting trail and bring in a big class. Now, we've talked about it here in the 2025 cycle. They have a chance to take 4 more defensive linemen. Like, no and if or buts about it. You've got Kamori Moore and Trent Wilson currently committed. You're probably getting Christian Evans. You guys saw him here on the podcast. Floyd Boucard is a huge possibility, and that's a plug-and-play guy right away. Like, he's 315 pounds, and it's not like 315 pounds of bad weight. He looks really good. So Floyd Boucard, Christian Evans, Cole Breeler is another option. And then you got all those defensive ends that Oklahoma is looking at bringing in. So the idea that Oklahoma could probably try to bring in 4 more interior defensive linemen if they wanted to come to Oklahoma, it's not out of the question. It's really not. And so you would have a really big class, and it would probably be one of the better positions in this class, definitely one of the better positions on this team going into next season, especially with the depth that you would have. So maybe a 1 year rental, like, it isn't as bad as you would take. Like, I definitely think in BV's first year, you would have wanted 2 to 3 year guys, right? So that you could have had a little bit more stability there. But there was another prospect that Oklahoma talked about after Lole transferred from OU to Texas, and this guy I think was a better fit, or this is the guy that I think I would rather have. Now, to warn you, statistically, not as impressive as Adin Huntington, but he has 2 years of eligibility left. So you would have a guy that could be 2 years in the program, really try to redevelop his draft stock with Todd Bates, and it would kind of help be able to give some of these guys that are coming in through this recruiting class a year to be able to kind of sit, learn the defense, learn the program, get up to the right and proper weights, like those kind of things, right? So that was Brandon Lane. 6'3", 300 pounds, sophomore, originally from Kansas City, Missouri, out of Lee Summit. But Brandon Lane he started his career out at San Diego State, and now he's at Stephen F. Austin. And when you look at the season that he had, phenomenal season. 44 total tackles, 16 solos. He had, let's see here, I think he had 6.5 tackles for loss. He had 1 fumble recovery. He had a pass breakup. Like, he had a QB hurry. So again, not as impressive. Like, the other guy had like 4, but we just read off an entire guy's and Adin Huntington's career stats. I just read you Brandon Lane's 1-year stats. So my thought process is, if I was Brent Venables and Todd Bates, I would go for Brandon Lane. 300 pounds. He fits the weight category you want him at. He's got multiple years. But again, Brent Venables and Todd Bates' strategy has been, when you take somebody in the portal, you're not bringing them in for long periods of time. You're bringing them in to really be able to kind of get that extra year development that they need. And then after that, you're sending them off on their merry way to the NFL. Kind of like what we're going to see with Dejon Petaway, who transferred in at the cornerback position. Really just needed one more solid year on film, maybe against elite competition. And if he can do half of what he did at San Diego State, that dude's going to be a top 3-round corner, right? That's what we're talking about with that guy. So I think you're going to see the similar thing here with some of these defensive linemen. Dominic Williams, like if he goes out there and he has a really great year this year, he's a first-round defensive lineman. And that would be absolutely phenomenal for Oklahoma and Todd Bates to kind of be able to stack that one on your resume, because I don't think he was a first-round defensive lineman at TCU, but under Todd Bates, he can 100% be a first-round defensive lineman. So, Center Nation, I want to hear from y'all, because when I heard these names and then I started digging into them, it intrigued me. Like I said, you have one guy that has 2 years, one guy that has 1 year. And in my books, I would rather have the guy that has multiple years, so you can add more stability, more guys that know this program, and you get more size in that room, right? And you could potentially lose that size with Deshaun Terry and Dominic Williams this year. So if you guys have made it this far and you guys have not already, make sure you guys hit that like, you guys hit that subscribe button, jump in the comments below, give me your guys' thoughts and opinions.